नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, Chapter 19, entitled Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. Text 214. Krishna bina Krishna tyago taro karjo mani, অতএব শান্ত কৃষ্ণ ভক্ত eko jani. Giving up all desires not connected with Krishna is the business of one who is in Shantaras. Only a devotee of Krishna can be situated on that platform. He is thus called a Shantaras Bhakta. Om Ajnanatirmandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine. Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Gramatarine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Kurvani Pracharine Nirvishisha Shunivadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrind. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this verse of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is continuing to explain on the specific characteristics of the various rasas, the 5 primary rasas, in fact. And here in this verse that we read today, Mahaprabhu is describing what is or who is a Shantaras Bhakta, the one who gives up all desires that is not connected with Krishna. That is a devotee in Shantaras. Very simple formula, that giving up everything that is not in connection with Krishna, giving up one's desires not in connection with Krishna. So in that mood today, we will try to hear some of the glories of Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu, who is the one major reason for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's descent. It was because of the loving calls of Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu that Mahaprabhu made his transcendental appearance. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on many occasions has asserted this as a fact, that I have come because you called me. So a very sweet relationship that was there between Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu and Sriman Mahaprabhu. So with his loud cries, Ohunkara Garjanadi, when Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, he would worship his Shaligram Shila, and he would roar like a lion, and it is said that his roaring, his roaring would actually penetrate the coverings of the material universe, and it would reach, even, surpass Vaikuntha, and it would reach Goloka Vrindavan directly, and it would, Krishna would actually stop playing his flute, and because of the loving cries of Sri Advaita Acharya, and who was so much pained seeing the suffering of Kali Yuga, the people of Kali Yuga, out of utter compassion for the people of Kali Yuga, Sri Advaita Acharya actually requested Sriman Mahaprabhu to descend. And every day, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu would actually worship his Shaligram Shila with the waters of the Ganges and Tulasi Manjaris. Very beautifully, there's a song that glorifies Sri Advaita Acharya, and in that song it is mentioned like this, that this is the way Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, by his nishtha bhakti, by performing his services in a very, very, systematic way, in a very, very devotional way, he actually attracted the Supreme Lord to hear to him, and finally, by reciprocating to that loving call, Sri Krishna descended as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Advaita Acharya, it is said that he is the combined incarnation of Sadashiv and Mahavishnu. So we need to understand that the combination aspect is, there with in the Panchatattva themselves, and even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a combination of Sri Radha and Krishna. It is said that Lord Nityananda is a combination of Lord Balaram and of Lakshman or Sankarshan, and Advaita Acharya Prabhu is a combination of Sadashiv and Sriman Mahavishnu. And Garadhar Prabhu, he is said to be Srimati Radharani, and at the same time even Srimati Radharani's duty. Duty means effulgence, the effulgence of Srimati Radharani. So both the aspects, the fact that it is Srimati Radharani, her effulgence is also there, but her effulgence also means, her direct associates. So Gadadhar Prabhu is said to be the combination of Srimati Radharani and her effulgence, her bright effulgence. Srimati Radharani's bright effulgence. And Narad Muni is Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur is a combination of Narad Muni and the Sangha of devotees, the strength of the Sangha of the devotees. That is the combination that Narad Muni has come with as Srivas Thakur. So like this, we know that Panchatattva, all five of them, they have a combination Shakti. So Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, he is the combination of Sadashiv and Mahavishnu. And because he is, so dear to, when Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu descended, he actually has taken initiation from Srila Madhavendra Puri. He was the initiated disciple of Srila Madhavendra Puri Pad. And we all know that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended, he took initiation from Srila Ishwara Puri, who is also a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. So Ishwara Puri and Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu are actually god brothers. And that is the reason why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always considered Advaita Acharya Prabhu to be his Guru Varga. Like he would always see a spiritual uncle in Sri Advaita Acharya. That was the way that, Mahaprabhu and Advaita Acharya Prabhu's relationship was. And because of this, Advaita Acharya Prabhu would always be very depressed. It's explained that, when Mahaprabhu was very young, little Nimai, at that time, Vishwarup, Mahaprabhu's elder brother, would come to sit with Advaita Acharya and all the other Vaishnavas, and Mother Sachi, she would actually send baby Nimai to the house of Advaita Acharya and, to call Vishwarup that Prasad is ready, and then Nimai would come, and all of these personalities, Vishwarup and Srivas Thakur and Advaita Acharya, all of them would be, immersed in Krishna Katha. And suddenly out of nowhere, this golden boy, he comes in and he would just, start playing in the middle of all of this, and everyone would feel that, all the Vaishnavas present there, they would feel that, oh, the Krishna that we were talking about has finally come in the form of this little child. That was how Advaita Acharya from the very beginning, even from the time of his appearance, actually, he knew that this is Krishna himself. Advaita Acharya Prabhu was the one who knew that. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, one of the most, the leading ladies, in fact, who came to bless, the baby, the newborn baby, and, come and give their congratulations to Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi, were Advaita Acharya Prabhu and his glorious wife Sita Thakurani. And the name Nimai was actually given by the ladies who were headed by Srimati Sita Thakurani. So Srimati Sita Thakurani was the one who actually coined the name, gave the name Nimai to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is another little thing. And so Advaita Acharya Prabhu knew from the very beginning that this is Krishna himself, and that this little boy, he has come, that he has come to, in answer to my prayers. Advaita Acharya Prabhu always knew this in his heart. And so like this, when Vishwarup actually, later on when he grew up also into a young boy, everyone wanted him to get married, and especially his parents, and that's why Vishwarup just left home and he took sannyas and he left Navadvip. And we all know how that affected Nimai and Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra. And Jagannath Mishra actually couldn't bear the separation from Vishwarup, and he left his body also. And then Mahaprabhu went to Gaya to perform the Shraddha ceremony for Jagannath Mishra, and that's where he met Ishwarapuri. And when Mahaprabhu came back to Navadvip, he was a transformed personality. And they were all able to now witness the devotee in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The devotional aspect of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, came out in the open for everyone to witness. After Mahaprabhu came back from Gaya after meeting Ishwarapuri, and that's when all the Vaishnavas in Navadvip were so happy, and Advaita Acharya Prabhu would actually dance in ecstasy that today my life is successful, that Nimai Pandit has now become Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and Advaita Acharya Prabhu was dancing in ecstasy, dancing. So happy he was to see the transformation, the external transformation in Nimai Pandit. But so like this, we understand that how when devotees, one very, very important thing to understand from this is that how devotees, should feel happy for each other when another devotee makes advancement, when another devotee achieves, a spiritual perfection or receives initiation. Everyone, the entire Vaishnava community, they actually rejoice in this celebration. And it is a blessing that is given by Sri Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that if we can truly be genuinely happy for another Vaishnava when they are receiving the mercy, we become the recipients of the same mercy. there is no difference. If someone who is getting a hug from the spiritual master, if we can become happy for that particular devotee, that, oh, he's getting a hug, he's so fortunate, I just want to remain as a dust of lotus, dust at, his lotus feet. If we can really from our heart be happy for that person, then we can also get the same benefit of that embrace that devotee is receiving. So we should be always, this is how Advaita Acharya Prabhu and all the Vaishnavas, they taught, by when they were so happy and rejoicing that Nimai Pandit has now become a devotee. They were so happy for, Nimai, that he finally became a devotee, externally manifesting the mood of a devotee. They were very, 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 very happy. But then, before becoming Nimai Pandit, before becoming Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before Nimai Pandit, expressed his devotional mood, before that he would joke sometimes with Advaita Acharya. He would, be very callous with Advaita Acharya. Lord Chaitanya would do that. But then after he became a devotee, he started respecting Advaita Acharya Prabhu like anything. And whenever he would see Advaita Acharya Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya would just, fall in dandavats, because he would say that you are my guru's god brother, and therefore you are my spiritual uncle. My respects to you, Sriman Advaita Acharya Prabhu. Like this, he would address Advaita Acharya, and Advaita Acharya would start feeling so bad that, he would say that, no, I want the Lord to treat me. I know that this is Krishna. I know that the Lord has come in response to my calling. And why is the Lord treating me like his superior? Advaita Acharya was very, very disturbed for this matter. He couldn't tolerate this. So he devised a plan. He decided to go from Navadvip. He went to a nearby place called Shantipur, and there he went and he started preaching Mayavad philosophy in great, great extent. To that extent that he would actually start organizing huge pandal programs, and in those pandal programs he started talking about Mayavad philosophy. So suddenly one day, the devotees came in the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said that, look, this is what we've got news, that Advaita Acharya is doing this. So then Lord Chaitanya's eyes became red with anger. He was so furious. And he said that, this Advaita Acharya, he has really gone mad in his old age. I have to go and fix him. How dare he do this? And he was so angry. So he and Nityananda Prabhu, both the brothers, they set off from Navadvip. They were going to go to Shantipur. And on the way, they came across this, one sannyasi. And the sannyasi, he saw that, these two transcendental brothers were walking down the street. So then the sannyasi said, hey, my dear brothers, you look so nice. You both are, looking like so beautiful devotees of Krishna. You're chanting kirtan so beautifully. So do you want to come in and take some rest? Let me serve you. Please come. So then Mahaprabhu and Nitai, they were also exhausted, so then both of them accepted the gracious invitation of their host, the sannyasi, and they came inside, and the sannyasi gave them very nice prasad, and they both had some nice prasad, and the sannyasi said, why don't you take some rest? And before taking rest, the sannyasi asked, do you want some ananda? Do you want to have some bliss? And then Mahaprabhu jumped up and he said, yes, I want bliss, I want ananda. And Nityananda Prabhu caught Mahaprabhu's hand and made him sit down back again and said, no, Nimai, they are actually, this sannyasi, he's actually a bhogi sannyasi, he's a materialistic sannyasi, he's just as externally having the dress of a renunciant. He actually, ananda means that do you want to enjoy with, like a glass of wine and things like that, want to have some intoxicant. So, and then Mahaprabhu said, really? Is that what he means? I said, yeah, that's what he means. He said, how do you know? Mahaprabhu asked Nityananda, that how do you know? And then Nityananda said, well, I have toured the entire India, remember? And I have seen people like this. They are, having some faith in Krishna, they do some kind of practice, but they also don't give up their enjoyment. They enjoy with wine and women. They do all of that. So then Mahaprabhu said, oh really, okay, let's run from here, Nitai, let's save our life and run from there. So then Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu, they just, very graciously, they said, oh, thank you very much for, hosting us. We are so grateful to you. And then both of them ran away from this, Bhogi Sannyasi's house. And then they were about to reach Shantipur. And at that very moment, Advaita Acharya Prabhu had, a huge pandal program organized, and there was... he was sitting on the stage, and there were like thousands and thousands of people, and Advaita Acharya Prabhu was nicely, he was speaking on Mayavad philosophy. And then from the corner of his eye, Advaita Acharya noticed that Mahaprabhu and Nitai are already there. And he started speaking more forcefully, stressing more on Mayavad philosophy. And then Mahaprabhu couldn't take it anymore. He just walked up to the stage and he kicked Advaita Acharya on his chest, and he said, and started beating him and beating him and beating him, and said, how dare you? How dare you are talking on Mayavad philosophy? Don't you know that a devotee, a devotional practices is higher? How can you talk about such crazy philosophy? Are you gone mad? You really have gone mad in your old age. Like this, Mahaprabhu was cursing Advaita Acharya and hitting him and hitting him and hitting him and kicking him. And then when Advaita Acharya was dancing in ecstasy, being beaten up like this by Mahaprabhu, he was dancing, and Sita Thakurani came, and she started begging Lord Chaitanya that stop beating him, he's an old man, he's going to die, stop beating him up. And then still Mahaprabhu would not stop. And then finally, one of the most celebrated sons of Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, Achyutananda, he was just 6 years old at that time. So little Achyutananda came, and he came in front of Mahaprabhu and he begged that, please Mahaprabhu, don't beat my father like this, he's going to die. So seeing the devotion of little Achyutananda, Mahaprabhu immediately stopped. And then Mahaprabhu noticed that Advaita Acharya was actually in ecstasy. And Mahaprabhu said, what's wrong with you? Have you really gone crazy in your old age? I'm beating you, I'm shouting at you, and you are, why are you dancing in ecstasy like this? And then Advaita Acharya Prabhu said that today I have fulfilled the real purpose of your coming here, that I wanted you to accept me as your eternal servant, and you would always just accept, call me and address me as master and master and master, and I would not like that, and therefore I wanted you to treat me as your servant, and today you have done just that. So therefore I am in ecstasy. So hearing this, Lord Chaitanya was very, very embarrassed, and he immediately, of course, begged for forgiveness. Now, there are quite a few things that we should understand from this pastime. That why do we think that the story of the materialistic sannyasi comes in between? That it is explained by Srila Prabhupada that Lord Chaitanya can tolerate anything. Lord Chaitanya can even tolerate when, we somehow fall down from our, devotional practices. But still, if we have some hope that we are not giving up the association of devotees, that we still have some hope, that we are still able to come back up and start, rendering our services. Lord Chaitanya will have mercy on even those who are doing material enjoyments. That's the point. But Mahaprabhu will not tolerate anybody who is practicing or preaching Mayavad philosophy. Lord Chaitanya always says that Mayavad bhashya shunile hoye sarvanash. That if you listen to Mayavad philosophy, it is like you're doomed. So Lord Chaitanya is very, very, very against, going towards Mayavad philosophy. And the other thing that, is talked about here is that Lord Chaitanya, he is Krishna himself. So did he not know that Advaita Acharya was just pretending to, preach Mayavad philosophy? And did he not know when he was actually beating up Advaita Acharya Prabhu, that did he not know that Advaita Acharya Prabhu was just pretending? He did not know that? How come? Actually, the answer also is very beautifully explained by our Guru Vargas. They say that Krishna, he knows everything. There's nothing hidden from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, who is none other than Krishna himself. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows everything. He also knows that what his devotee, his dear devotee Advaita Acharya Prabhu is thinking. Mahaprabhu knows everything. But externally, he also wanted to fulfill the desire of his dear devotee Advaita Acharya. And Mahaprabhu knew that, he cannot violate the principles that he is externally as a devotee. And he didn't want to forget his principles of, being submissive to his Guru Varga. He did not want to do that. And that is why Mahaprabhu would always be very respectful to Advaita Acharya. But as soon as he heard that he is preaching, Mayavad philosophy like this, Mahaprabhu also got a very good reason to reciprocate with the love of Advaita Acharya. So Mahaprabhu very well knew that Advaita Acharya Prabhu is, pretending, but he wanted to fulfill the desire of Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, that he wanted, Advaita Acharya Prabhu wanted Mahaprabhu to accept him as his servant, and Lord Chaitanya did exactly that. So by this pastime, we can understand so many of these esoteric subject matter, that how these, essential truths are revealed in the form of the, manifestation of one particular pastime. So this is how we know the glory of Sri Advaita Acharya. The other pastime that always comes to mind is a very beautiful one, which is in relation to Shachi Mata. When Shachi Mata, when she came, when she was one of the devotees who came in front of Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu was giving Krishna Prem to everybody, but he refused to give it to his own mother. And Shachi Mata asked Mahaprabhu that why? Why, Nimai, why can't you bless me with Krishna Prem? And then Mahaprabhu said, Ma, you have offended my dear devotee. And Shachi Mata and all the devotees, they were shocked to hear this. Even Shachi Mata was shocked to hear this, that when did I offend someone? And then Mahaprabhu said, my dear Ma, when my elder brother Vishwarup, when he took sannyas, you mentally blamed Advaita Acharya Prabhu. In your mind, you blamed him for Vishwarup's taking sannyas. And therefore, that, the mental thinking of yours, because of your thoughts, sometimes you would behave in a very cold way with Advaita Acharya. It would come out in your actions. So therefore, you have offended Advaita Acharya, and unless you beg forgiveness from Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, I will not be able to give you Krishna Prem. So Shachi Mata was, really, she said that yes, this could definitely have happened. So what should I do? So then Mahaprabhu said the only way that you can get relieved is that if you take the dust of Advaita Acharya Prabhu's lotus feet on your head, and then you will be purified. Go beg forgiveness from Advaita Acharya. So Shachi Mata actually, she went first and begged forgiveness from Advaita Acharya, and Advaita Acharya was like, no, you are the, mother of my worshipable Lord. How can you come and, how can I be ever offended by you? No, Shachi Mata, no, never. I've never felt offended, nothing like that. So then Shachi Mata again came back to Mahaprabhu and said that, this is what Advaita Acharya said, that he is saying that he has not taken any offense. So then Mahaprabhu explained to Shachi Mata that yes, that is the glory of a Vaishnava, that the Vaishnava will never take offense, but Krishna, he takes offense. When his dear devotee is offended, Krishna takes offense. So what can you do when Krishna is still offended? Yes, Advaita Acharya Prabhu may have forgiven or may have not even taken offense from you, but Krishna has. So then Sachimata said, what can I do? How can I, because I really want Krishna Prem. So how can I get Krishna Prem? How can I beg for forgiveness from Advaita Acharya Prabhu? How can Krishna forgive me? So then Mahaprabhu said that, okay, I will help you because you are my mother. So he said that I will call Advaita Acharya Prabhu, and when Advaita Acharya Prabhu sees me, he always offers Dandavat Pranams to me. So at that time, while he is offering Dandavat Pranams, you should come from the back, and then you should take the dust of his lotus feet and put it on your head. That way your offense to him will be completely eradicated. So that's exactly what Mother Sachi did, giving up, not having any kind of ego, nothing, because she just wanted to please her son. She wanted to receive Krishna Prem. That's why when Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu came in the presence of Mahaprabhu, he immediately offered his prostrated obeisances to Lord Chaitanya, and immediately Sachimata came from back and she touched the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya and she put it on her head, put the dust of his lotus feet on her head. And immediately Mother and Advaita Acharya Prabhu jumped up. He realized what happened and he offered obeisances to Sachimata. But then Krishna immediately was so pleased and Mahaprabhu blessed Sachimata with pure Krishna Prem. So we can see that how even if you are the mother of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that Lord Chaitanya will not give us Krishna Prem if we have offended any devotee. So we need to understand this pastime also has very, very deep underlying messages. One of them being that even though the devotee has not taken offense out of the merciful nature of their hearts, but Krishna always takes offense. So we should be, whenever we feel that yes, we have committed offense, that we should definitely beg forgiveness from the devotee itself, himself or herself, but we should also beg forgiveness from Krishna. And we should serve that Vaishnava so that we can be freed from that Vaishnava offense and that Krishna will be pleased with our service attitude towards that devotee, towards that Vaishnava. So it is, for us, for neophytes like especially myself, that, it is very, very important for us to therefore, when we start our day every day, that we beg for forgiveness, by offering actual obeisances, by reciting the mantra, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. That if I may have committed any offense to any Vaishnava, knowingly or unknowingly, that I am begging forgiveness from each and every one of them. And Krishna, I am begging you to forgive me so that I can have some taste in your chanting while I chant your holy names. So this is the way we should start our morning japa, by receiving the blessings from all the Vaishnavas. So this way that, we should always, and the other underlying message is that Sachimata, what Mahaprabhu told her is that she just thought in her mind. The offense actually started in the form of a seed in her mind when Vishwarup took sannyas. She just blamed Advaita Acharya for that act of Vishwarup. And that kind of fructified a little bit, and it was translated in many ways. It came in the form of her actions also, many times while she was, not all the time. Definitely no. Mahaprabhu was very careful in saying this, that not all the time was she very, cold towards Advaita Acharya, but sometimes she was cold in her behavior towards Sri Advaita Acharya. So this is something that we must be careful about, that yes, still, in Kali Yuga, if we are thinking bad of someone, we don't get the effect unless it is translated into our actions. So, but we must be very careful that the thoughts quickly can become actions if we don't, burn out the seeds in the thought level itself. We have to be very, very mindful that we are not being offensive towards any Vaishnava, not being critical about any Vaishnava. So rather than focusing our mind on not being critical, not being offensive, if we can always keep our minds full of the thoughts that let us glorify Vaishnavas, let us serve Vaishnavas. So that way we are, filling our mind with positive, on the positive side rather than thinking on the negative side of not committing, not doing. Let us think of what we can do, so that the cannot do's don't even exist. If we are busy glorifying a Vaishnava, if we are busy in serving the Vaishnavas, where is the question of offending a Vaishnava? You see? So that is the thing that we must always keep in mind, that we should always be very, very grateful to the devotees for their association, for their services, and that way we can always stay at a level where we are completely freed from this tendency to commit offenses. And also when we can just, if we are seeing, something which is very obvious, which could be a defect in another devotee, immediately we should try to see two good things in that particular Vaishnava. It is no doubt that everyone has good and bad, but our problem is, at least my problem is, that we focus on the bad and we completely neglect the good. But let us try to shift our paradigm a little bit. Let us try to focus on the good and neglect the bad. As soon as we do that, we will see how happy we become, how happy we are when we actually glorify Vaishnavas. Sometimes, some devotee can tell us, give us some good suggestion, and we act on that suggestion. But we do it as if, it is completely ours to start off with. And it is completely fine. That devotee is, getting the benefit of what some other devotee gave a suggestion of. That is perfectly fine. Krishna is pleased by that action. But if we start thinking, oh, look, I gave that suggestion, and look, that devotee didn't even talk about my name. Let us try to think what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, when he was interviewing Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami said, yes, I can give you all the anecdotes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but my condition is that you will not mention that it has come from me. I do not want any credit. So that is a proper Vaishnava. That is a genuine Vaishnava who is not looking for any credit. So that should be our motivation, that we should try to follow in the footsteps of such Vaishnavas, that we are not really here for taking credit, but giving credit to others. Let us give all credit to our spiritual masters. Let us give all credit to Srila Prabhupada. Let us give all credit to the Vaishnavas. That is what is going to please Krishna. And then this world will actually become Vaikuntha, Srila Prabhupada said. It will become the spiritual world. There will be no difference whatsoever. So these very, very important lessons, teachings of our daily practice of Krishna consciousness has been given to us by the most merciful life of Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, the glorious life of Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu. And so we are ever grateful to Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu that by his life he has shown us, he has set the example, he has set the standard by following which we can also, claim that yes, one fine day, we will also be able to become qualified to receive the mercy of Krishna. So I'd like to end with one very special pastime that was between Srila Prabhupada and Sri Advaita Acharya. I might have told this many, many times, but forgive me if you've heard this before. Of course, all of the pastimes, both the pastimes I have told today, everybody has heard it, but I'm saying it for my own purification, so please forgive me for that. So this pastime of Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu with Srila Prabhupada happened in a place called Babla, which is near Shantipur. And Babla was the place where Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu has his bhajan kutir. His place of sadhana is there in Babla. So it is not very long ago that actually Srila Giriraj Maharaj narrated this pastime to me, and he said that one time he went to Mayapur a few years ago, and he had, his stomach was somehow very delicate, and he developed a very acute food poisoning, and he had to be rushed into Calcutta because no medicine was having any effect on him. Maharaj was not able to retain anything in his stomach, and then on the way, so he had actually not had anything in his stomach for like 2-3 days, so therefore he had to be rushed into Calcutta. And they were driving by, and then Maharaj saw, Babla actually falls on the way. It falls on the highway itself while we are driving from Mayapur to Calcutta. And Maharaj had the desire that he wanted to take darshan of Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu's Bhajan Kutir. So Maharaj asked the driver to pull into the ashram, and Maharaj went upstairs. He was very weak, but he went upstairs and he sat there, and they were talking. He started talking to one of the pujaris there, and he was a very, very, very old man who was sitting there. And Maharaj started talking and saying that, yes, my name is Giriraj Swami, this, that, so many things they were introducing. And then, this old man, he just started talking. He said, there used to be one old man who would come when I was very, very young. He would come every single day, and he would come and pray. His name was Bhaktivedanta Swami, and he would come to this place every day, and he would chant japa, and I would see, I was a young boy at that time, and I would see that he was, he would cry in front of Advaita Acharya. And every day he would come, he would, not every day, Prabhupada would come like once a month at least, sometimes more than once a month he would come to see Advaita Acharya and chant there, and he would spend the whole day with, chanting and praying like this. So then one day he came, this Bhaktivedanta Swami came, and he would actually, other thing that he would also do is he would present Back to Godhead magazine that Prabhupada would actually write. He would come and present it to Advaita Acharya also. So he would do all of that. And then one day he came, and this old man said that I was a young boy that time, but my father was the pujari. So on that day he was especially crying a lot. And so my father, it seems, went and asked Bhaktivedanta Swami that, I see you have been coming, and today why are you, crying so much? And Bhaktivedanta Swami, it seems, said that tomorrow I am leaving from Kolkata. I am going by Jaladuta. I am going to America to fulfill the orders of my spiritual master. So I am begging, I have come here to beg to Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu that he gives me the strength that I can follow the instructions of my spiritual master, and that I can, embark on this very dangerous journey. I don't know if I will be alive also or not, but I'm trying to go and I'm trying to do this. So, I hope I will be, I've come to pray here that I will be successful in fulfilling the orders of my spiritual master. So then, saying that, Prabhupada, it seems, took prasad at, Mahaprasad of Sri Advaita Acharya with this devotee's father, and then Prabhupada left. And then after 10 years, it seems he said that, some white devotees came, and, they came and they were, all dancing here in ecstasy. And then I came to know that they are actually, this Bhaktivedanta Swami is now called as Prabhupada, and he has actually set up this entire organization, and he's become successful. So, and this old man now, who was a little boy at that time, he said that I have seen Prabhupada coming every month at least, once or twice he would come, and he would cry and pray to Advaita Acharya for this particular thing, and this is how, Advaita Acharya reciprocated with the intense desire of Srila Prabhupada and gave him all success. So that day it seems Giriraj Maharaj heard this pastime from, this was a very famous thing everyone knew, but he heard, Giriraj Maharaj, he heard it from this devotee himself, who was the pujari who has seen Srila Prabhupada over there, and that devotee, actually, that pujari gave, asked Maharaj to honor prasadam, and he said that he was able to eat each and every morsel from Advaita Acharya Prabhu's Mahaprasad, and Maharaj felt completely all right, and he was able to, make a U-turn and come back to Mayapur, and he was, by Advaita Acharya Prabhu's blessings, Maharaj was really got rid of his sickness, and he didn't have to go into Calcutta. It was really so nice. But the main thing here is we need to understand that, ISKCON is what it is today because of the intensity that Srila Prabhupada had when he would visit Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu's, bhajan kutir. It's the result of the prayers that he did at Babla, at Advaita Acharya Prabhu's bhajan kutir, that this entire manifestation has happened. And we are here today, all of us sitting over this conference call within the comforts of our own homes, and we are listening to these glories. It is because of the ultimate mercy that has come from Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu to Srila Prabhupada, and through all our Guru Vargas we are able to get that same mercy. So on this auspicious day of the appearance of Sri Advaita Acharya, we beg and pray at his lotus feet that just the way that he reciprocated with the intense desire of Srila Prabhupada to serve and be instrumental in following the instructions of his spiritual master, in that same mood that all of us can also become worthy instruments in the hands of Srila Prabhupada, in the hands of our spiritual masters, that we can do something worthwhile while we are here. So we can, we can also say that yes, in that sense, we truly are Prabhupada Nugas. We are the followers of Srila Prabhupada. If we can, whatever, to the best of our capacity, if we can do and spread help in growing this mission, that is what is going to be most pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, to our spiritual masters in Krishna, and to Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu. So, with that, we'll end here. All glories to Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Such a beautiful class. It was so wonderful. It was so wonderful hearing. Right from the way you started off about the embrace, like if you're really happy for someone, it's equivalent to receiving that embrace. From there to the story of that bhogi, the sannyasi that you were talking about, and then Advaita Acharya's pastime, how Mahaprabhu doesn't tolerate Mayavad preaching. So it was so beautiful, and finally the pastime that you finished off with. Thank you so much, Mataji. This was really, really such a wonderful start for the day. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Very, very indebted to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Indebted to you for the opportunity. Always grateful to you, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam. Thank you so much, Mataji, for such daily life practical teachings, and thank you so much for the beautiful pastime of Prabhupada. Mataji, I have one question. Like, why Advaita Acharya Prabhu chose this path to preach the Mayavadi philosophy? Because that will not please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because the person who would listen that philosophy can change their heart. They become like Mayavadis from the devotees. So why Advaita Acharya Prabhu choose that path only to get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Well, because Advaita Acharya Prabhu, firstly, he knew that nothing else would make Lord Chaitanya angry and, really beat him up and, accept him as the servant, which Advaita Acharya Prabhu really wanted. And the other thing was that he actually, everybody knew that Advaita Acharya Prabhu cannot preach Mayavad philosophy, first of all. I forgot to mention this point, that he just let the rumor pass that he's, speaking on Mayavad philosophy. But he would actually talk Krishna Katha. But when, he saw Nitai and Mahaprabhu coming, he started talking, about this. So everybody knew why he was doing what he was doing, but there was no question of anybody getting convinced on Mayavad philosophy or anything like that, but this was the desire of Advaita Acharya, and he knew that for Mahaprabhu to reciprocate the way he wanted, the way Advaita Acharya wanted, that the only way he could do that was if Mahaprabhu heard that he's talking about Mayavad philosophy. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Kalasudha Mataji. Very, very wonderful nectarian class. Thank you. And this pastime by Lord Srila Prabhupada, going there and crying there and begging for mercy of Advaita Acharya. It's very wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaumudiki Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for this class. There was just one thing that I didn't hear properly when you were relating the pastime of Giriraj Swami. When he was en route toward Advaita Acharya's Bhajan Kutir. And I thought you said something about something fell.
Something fell? No.
Something fell. Maybe I didn't hear you properly, because then I was wondering, well, what was that thing that fell? And before he actually got to the Bhajan Kutir. And, I think you were trying to explain how he got inspired to stop there at the Kutir.
Yeah, he just saw the place and remembered the glory of that place in terms of Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj really wanted to go and take darshan of Advaita Acharya Prabhu's Bhajan Kutir, and that's why he asked the driver to just go into that ashram. So,
okay, maybe I have to listen to the recording, because I don't know what it was that I didn't hear properly.
Okay.
So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And do we know the name of that pujari, that very old pujari?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh, that's okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't.
But that he is no longer with us today, though, is he?
The son is the one who was narrating the pastime to Giriraj Maharaj.
Oh, so the very old pujari is the son of the person who actually saw Srila Prabhupada.
And he also has seen Prabhupada as a young boy.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if he's, still alive to this day as we are speaking, but so I wouldn't know that. But
yeah. Oh, I'm glad we had this talk, because I missed that too. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Krishna Kalasudha Mataji, Wondershare Filmora and Glories. Thank you for a wonderful class. I had a question.
Yes.
So when we say
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me?
You're breaking up, Mataji. You're breaking up. Can't hear you.
Yeah, maybe I can go. Can you hear me now better?
Yeah, now it's good. Hello? Can't hear you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Haribol.
Yeah, we can hear you. I think
Okay,
Mataji
yeah.
couldn't hear you. Or rather, we are not able to hear her.
Okay. So I was thinking, did I get dropped off but on the call?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. All glory.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, yes.
I got cut off suddenly. Yeah,
Yes,
my question was, so I don't know how to understand this. So we understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come as a combined incarnation of Krishna and Radharani.
Mm-hmm.
Yet he's always there in the spiritual world in Navadvip in the spiritual world. So, if he's always been, then how does he appear again? Or is it that he appears in the material world?
Yeah, just like Krishna, that when Krishna makes his appearance in this material world, when Krishna came in Dwapar Yuga, it's Krishna himself directly from Goloka. But it's not that, when Krishna comes, that Goloka Vrindavan becomes devoid of Krishna. Krishna is simultaneously present in Goloka and he's simultaneously present here as well. So the same goes for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu too, that Mahaprabhu is definitely present here while he was doing his pastimes, but Mahaprabhu is also simultaneously present in the spiritual kingdom as well, in Shvetadvipa.
Okay, so I guess my question is when Krishna, my understanding is that Krishna desired to feel the mood of what Radharani was feeling, and so that's why he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So was that desiring to feel what Rukmini and the gopis was feeling? Was that what he felt in the material world, and that's why he decided to bring Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to appear?
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That before Krishna had that Rukmini discussion, Krishna and Rukmini had that discussion. That means that Mahaprabhu was not in existence at all, right?
Right. Exactly. That's my question. Yeah.
Right. No, that's not how it is. Mahaprabhu is eternal. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is eternal. And remember that there is 3 external causes of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, 3 internal. One of the external causes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance is the conversation between Rukmini and Krishna, that he wanted to experience what his devotees feel. But that does not mean that Mahaprabhu is coming for the first time, that Krishna, for the first time, he's taking on the mode of Srimati Radharani. That is not the case. The thing that Lord Chaitanya did, like just the way that, Krishna, in Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna does not have his childhood pastimes, right? We know that in Goloka Vrindavan there is no childhood pastimes of Krishna, like stealing butter or killing any of the demons. That does not exist in Goloka Vrindavan. That is a specialty of Krishna when he comes down into this material world only, right? We know that. But and similarly, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also eternally exists in the spiritual world in Shvetadvipa, which is the farthest corner of Goloka Vrindavan, is Lord Chaitanya's abode, where he is in his Navadvip Leela. And in Navadvip Leela, Mahaprabhu is, like how we see him as Panchatattva. He is not in his sannyas vesh. So the sannyas vesh of Lord Chaitanya, that is, that is particular only of this material world. In Bhulok Navadvip, Mahaprabhu took sannyas. But in the spiritual world, Lord Chaitanya as a sannyasi does not exist. You understand? So like Krishna, he does not have childhood pastimes in the spiritual world. There's no demons in the spiritual world. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya does not exist as a sannyasi in the spiritual world, but he just exists like with long hair and, with all jewels on his body, just like how we see Panchatattva, like that, not as a sannyasi. So, before this conversation between Rukmini and Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has always been existing. There was, it's just that it was not manifest. It was not known to people. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, came. Even Goloka Vrindavan, for that matter, even Krishna, the intricacies of Radha and Krishna's pastimes, the existence of the manjaris, all of this was not revealed to anyone, even in Dwapar Yuga. It is actually a special quality that Mahaprabhu brought all the, associates down. He brought Rupa Manjari, he brought, all the Manjaris down. These Manjaris have never made their appearance before. So Mahaprabhu is the one who has actually opened the doors of Goloka Vrindavan to the world. This is something very, very rare. Before Lord Chaitanya, nobody has opened the door. Even Krishna himself, although, Krishna is from Goloka Vrindavan, he kept it under closed doors. He never opened the secrecy of what is happening in Goloka Vrindavan.
Okay,
so it is only the writings of Rupa Goswami Pad and Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad that we know what happens, the Ashtakala Leela, all of that, the work of the Manjaris, what happens in the spiritual world. Who has revealed us all of that? It is Rupa Goswami and the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are the ones who have revealed to us. Otherwise, we wouldn't know. There's no scripture. Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't explain that. Right? So it is the Acaryas, who are none other than Manjaris, who have written these, things about the spiritual world. And Lord Chaitanya is eternal, and his manifestation here in this world is just like how Krishna manifests from Goloka Vrindavan, he manifests here. And just like when Krishna comes here, his childhood pastimes and killing of demons is the bonus. Here, when Lord Chaitanya comes, his sannyas leela is the bonus, which does not exist in the spiritual world. Does that make sense?
Yes,
does that help in answering your question?
Yeah, yes, it does. It does answer. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kalasudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Can I say a little something?
Yes, please.
I have heard that Krishna only comes once in the day of Brahma, and then after Krishna comes, then only Lord Chaitanya comes. And Lord Chaitanya doesn't come in every Kali Yuga either, and Lord Krishna doesn't come in every Dwapar Yuga, but only on the 28th cycle of these Manu, survivors of the 14th Manu. When the 14th Manu, the Vaivasvat Manu, when he's ruling, and then he says for 20, I think, 1,000 yuga or some cycle or something. When 28th yuga cycle comes. So this is what I have heard. Hare Krishna.
Yes, that is very true. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's the 28th cycle of the 7th Manu that Krishna comes, and then following that, Lord Chaitanya comes. Very correct. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I just remembered. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Very
Krishna.
nice.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Can I just follow up on the answer you just gave before?
Yes.
You were saying that, these leaders with the manjaris, they're not spoken of in even Srimad Bhagavatam, right?
Yes.
But we hear of the intimate love between the gopis and Krishna in Bhagavatam.
Yes.
So I'm just not clear. What is the kind of what are the kinds of leelas that we hear, I guess, in the CC that you won't hear in Bhagavatam?
Well, in the Bhagavatam, the maximum that is described is the Rasa Leela, and the Leelas that are happening, in Bhauma Leela especially. Krishna, the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, basically talks about Krishna, killing, Krishna's appearance here. That's what it talks about. And the entire Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't even have the mention of Sri Radhe. Radharani's name is not mentioned at all in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, because Shukadev Goswami, he said that I have to complete Srimad Bhagavatam. He had a deadline in 7 days, and he knew that if he takes Radharani's transcendental name, that he will just go down in ecstasy, and he would not be able to complete it for Parikshit Maharaj. So therefore, the entire Srimad Bhagavatam does not have the name of Srimati Radharani at all. It just refers to that one gopi, or the closest he has gone is by telling Aradhito, by saying, calling her the greatest worshipper. So Srila Prabhupada, of course, explains it in the purports, but again, these are just the Bhauma Leela that has been described in Srimad Bhagavatam. But if we read the works of the Acaryas, the Vidagdha Madhava, the Lalita Madhava, or the works of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami especially, and some of the other acharyas, we come to know that how everything has been revealed to them on the intimacy. Such intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna have been revealed to them, which have not been talked about at all in Srimad Bhagavatam, because Shukadev Goswami, he is actually the parrot of Srimati Radharani herself.
Yes.
He is the parrot, Shuka. So he knew that if he talks about her in detail, that he won't be able to finish Srimad Bhagavatam. So, knowingly, he actually did not delve into the esoteric subject matters. He did not go that line at all. So.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Gauranga. It was a wonderful class, Mataji, and I liked the part of Srila Prabhupada going and crying in Advaita Acarya, Bhajan Kutir. After listening that story, now I'm having I wanted to ask something to Advaita Acharya, because last week in our BV class we were sharing about Advaita Acharya, how he was crying and he was doing Shaligram Puja, and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu born. Actually, we are sharing last week. So maybe this week of Saturday in our BV class, definitely we will share all the past tense, whatever you shared today. So tomorrow is Advaita Acharya's appearance day. So anyway, we do fasting until noon, Mataji. So what wish we can ask him?
As I mentioned, thank you so much for saying this, bringing this point up, Keshavi. But as I said in the class also, that our prayer to Sri Advaita Acharya should be that in the same mood of Srila Prabhupada, how he prayed to Sri Advaita Acharya to be an instrument, a worthy instrument, so that he can fulfill the instructions of his spiritual master and, serve his spiritual master. So in that same mood, we should also pray to Sri Advaita Acharya so that we can also, be used as worthy instruments, so that we can further the mission that Srila Prabhupada has created. the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So that should be our prayer, that we can, because he is Sadashiv, he is Mahavishnu, he is very powerful. And also one other prayer that Jananivas Prabhu told me once in Mayapur, he said on the same appearance day of Advaita Acharya, we were all standing in front of Panchatattva, and Jananivas Prabhu, just out of his merciful compassion, he just said, the best prayer to Advaita Acharya is that Sadashiva, Sadashiv is the eternal form of Lord Shiva who resides in the spiritual world with Krishna. And so Sadashiv, in that sense, we all know that Lord Shiva is the predominating deity of the mode of ignorance, which can be said that he is the predominating deity for ego, false ego. So in that sense, Sadashiv, we should pray to Sri Advaita Acharya that we can he can help us in destroying our ego and selflessly serving the devotees. So these are the two things that we can pray to Advaita Acharya Prabhu.
Thank you, Mother.